Hello there, everybody. It's me, Jarius, here, and with another episode of Draw with Jarius. And what we have going on in the background today, and what we're gonna have for some conversation is bubs or boobs, however you say it, however you want to say it. But yes, I wanted to take some practices on drawing them and studying them because like many other things in drawing, they are something that I have trouble with. And it's primarily because it's uh, fun to think about drawing them and crazy too. Because there's such a variety to them, and I personally think they are an art of God. So it's very uh the beauty in them, and I, of course, don't want to see them be all like drawn horrifically, and so that's why that's going to be our background in today. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. So one of the things that is a bit of a interesting topic when it comes to drawing the breasts is that uh they don't exactly uh they're not exactly a muscle per se. They're, fat. And the fat that lays on the muscle. And so that's where it gets pretty interesting on like how to go about them because there's such a variety to them, as you may know. And so there's such a versatility to drawing them that we would need to understand. So I really want to take time to really hone in on them and get a good study on them. But aside from that, if you haven't told already, I got another new microphone. Because the last one had some problems with keeping my voice uh, at a stability. So here we are with a new mic. Um, it's a pretty fancy one, a pretty uh, cool one too. It's one of those RGB type microphones where it's like it changes colors. So it's a nice way of keeping me um, awake in a sense because there's so many colors at once. So that's very nice. It has a little shock mount that I'm talking into right now. So hopefully, as I'm listening back in on this, it's pretty good. Uh, Hopefully, you can tell me that too. uh, I'm still a novice when it comes to microphones, like in the editing, the voice, and all that, because there's a lot of editing when it comes to the microphone, voicing, and all that. And so I'm learning that too. And yeah, it's been creative and uh, quite the learning process. Made for a good curve in uh, testing out new things and just diving into a new world of content creation and all that. Um, it's been very nice because now I can pretty much uh, still study and work on drawing and improving and all that. But now I'm uh, taking in a new light, which is making videos and doing YouTube. So it's been fun because it's like, documenting my journey in drawing. And It's been giving me a new motivation too to get better at it because with my Pinterest sketches and making videos about topics and drawing that I like, it's like given a new and another motivation and push to get better at it. And so it's always been nice. It's very nice to experiment with it. So yeah, as well as talking in general, like talking for an hour, it's like what? Like consistency, you know? So it's been very uh good at me getting better at communicating and practicing in on talking and all that because it's like my mind is so active in uh thoughts and then it's like putting the thoughts into words. Now that is something altogether that has been very interesting. Oh, now I talked about this earlier in one of my videos, but now I can talk about it a little more. That I've been watching uh, anime as far as concerned. The anime that I've been watching at the moment has been I may be a receptionist, but I can solo any boss. And it's been pretty fun watching it. The main character is an absolute comedy. I love her. She's very expressive and has a lot of character to her. She definitely uh, kept is keeping me hooked on the anime. It's it's taken me by surprise because it's like keeping me like for me to stay on track with an anime, it has to have some form of story so that I can have something to stick to in a sense. Because if it's like nothing then but comedy, then I mean, yeah, that's great. But then it's like I'll eventually like fall off the wagon with it in a sense. So it has to have something that I can sit on, you know. But when it comes to this anime, the story is pretty simple, but it keeps me in track because of the main character. Really, she's very funny and uh makes up for it. Her story is pretty good. I say that this anime is a 10 out of 10. I think I've only been on episode 5 because I've been going on the dub. And I really like dub. I mentioned this too, and that dub is pretty good. Um, I always prefer dub over sub because, for one, I don't have to worry about uh, multitasking in a sense, in that, like, because when you look at sub, you gotta see what they're saying, you know, and then pay attention to what's going on screen. And I'm like, I don't want to get into all that. I just want to like know what they're saying and pay attention to what's going on. You know, why would I want to? Excuse me. Why would I want to uh, multitask at the same time, where I can just listen in on what they're saying and then pay attention to what's going on? So, yeah, that's why I prefer dub. Like doing dub and like paying attention to it has been something that is just overall much more sense because uh, focusing in on two things at once, it's like for me that's difficult. Especially when it's like something as simple as watching anime. Like what? I want it to be simple. So yeah, that's why I rather watch a dub over sub. And it's not as though I haven't watched sub either. I mean, when I very first got into anime, my first anime is my favorite. I watched that all in sub, and it just captivated me so much that I wanted to just watch it in sub. Like I didn't care that I had to multitask and pay attention to what's going on and what they're saying. I loved it that much to where it just didn't matter. And then when I found out that it had a dub, I'm like, ooh, let me try watching it in dub. And so I did, and then it ended up being like a whole new perspective, and it felt like I was watching it all over again, and that was just great. So that's where it's pretty amazing with dub, because it's like when it's so good, it feels like you're watching it all over again. So yeah, it's like the transition of sub and dub for me, it doesn't feel all that different. It only feels obviously noticeable when the character is um, singing something in sub, and then it's where obviously, you know. Uh, but even then, it's the transition is still all that different because it's like music itself is a universal language. You know, it's about the feeling that music leaves you in. You know, it's like for me when I listen to something in uh, Japanese music, for instance, or the OSTs, it's like I love them all the same because they invoke a feeling that is captivating and um, awesome. You know, so like the example would be um, one song that in particular is "Magnetic" by Illit, and the atmosphere of the song and the beats of it is like so like harmony and lovely, you know. So it's like I love to listen to that at times whenever I'm drawing because it keeps me active, my mind active, and uh, my attention span when it comes to drawing has been small, you know. So when it comes to things that can are upbeat and are active, it's like a motivator to me to keep going at it. So that's the thing that I love about sub or Japanese songs. Like there's a lot of action and emotion when it comes to them. And that's another thing when it comes to just anime in general. There's a lot of storytelling to them and like lessons and action that comes to it. And so that's where it's like, okay, so now I'm hooked on anime, you know? And one in particular that I got started it all to begin with is this game that I got introduced to by my cousins, Doki Doki Literature Club. They introduced me and got me into a new perspective on anime, and it was very cute and very uh, compelling story. At first, I was pretty bored at it, not gonna lie, but then when I got to know the characters more, and deeper depth, that's when I was like, okay, so now I'm getting interested. And then that whole thing with Sayori and Monica happened, and I'm like, okay, so now this is way beyond what I was thinking it would be about. And that's where it comes to be like anime. Well, that's just it for you, because it's like it really keeps you on your toes and like introduces you to new things that you didn't expect and see coming. And so that's what I love about anime. Like, there's all kinds of stories that uh, you can watch, and some of them may be redundant, but there's some things in particular that are different, and I can think of one in particular that I didn't have high hopes for, but then I was like, okay, so now this is actually pretty good, and that is Kill la Kill. And Kill la Kill is one of those animes that I was watching one of the first animes that I was watching when I first got into anime. And uh, what drew me in was like the art style of it at first, and then it was its comedy. Uh, and it was trying to be something that it knew it was, but it was still uh, being more than that, So it was really engageful and funny too. Like, it didn't just stay, as like an ecchi anime. Because when I watched it, it didn't feel like an ecchi anime. I mean, yes, there were obviously the suits and the action sets that made it obvious that it was pointing towards that, but even then, it still felt like it was something else, like something a compelling story. And so, how it ended, it was, like I loved it. I just loved it. And then the another anime, by the same studio, I think, is Darling in the Franxx, and that too had a great story, and the romance story of it with Zero Two and Hero, it was very compelling and made me want to stick to it to the end. And the side characters as well were pretty good too. And so that's where anime becomes really fun to watch because there's like an endless amount of story that you can watch where it doesn't feel boring. And it's like when I realized just how much anime gives life to me, it's like, man, I gotta stay in tune with this, because it's like life in general can get uh, overwhelming and frustrating and sad and boring and all those things. And then when it comes to anime, it's like, here's a dose of dopamine or, positivity and copium. That's what I was going for. A copium, where it makes you feel like, wow, you know? And so that's where it gets, that's what I love about it. So yeah. Uh, gotta get that good water in. Something that may be untraditional that you may hear is that I love to drink water as I'm drawing. Uh, I like to stay hydrated when it comes to it. It also, uh, like I was saying earlier, excuse me, like I was saying earlier about how my attention span is small. Somehow, when it comes to drinking water, it like refreshes, and it's also um keeps me in tune. So I may have to go to the bathroom a little more often than most, but you know, I still love it. It's always important to stay hydrated and uh, stay in form with grass in a sense, because it can get really uh, shut in when it comes to drawing. You know, like being sitting in one place for like so long. It's like when it comes to me, it's like okay, I gotta get up and go do something. You know, because as much as I would love to draw, it's still important, at least I think, to get up and move. So that's another thing that I've noticed a lot in the community where it's like uh, physical interaction and just getting out is somehow a uh, indifference or like it's unheard of. And I'm like, well, I mean, this is crazy to me. I mean, I myself, uh, I'll give you some backstory. Like, when I grew up, my form of fun was going outside and kicking rocks and playing on dirt mountains, and with my cousins as well. And then I would come home and play some, Mario or Sonic, and that was my idea of fun. And so when I moved up to where I'm living now, it's like now that whole new perspective. And I was still playing with family and all that, and then I was more into gaming in that time where I would play like Halo or Mortal Kombat and Dota. Dota 2 was like my main game in my teens. And so that made it to where being isolated was pretty much the norm for so long. Uh, but then I was like, being isolated isn't fun. uh, I want to do something more. I want to like branch off and other things. So uh, I I one of the things that I picked up uh when I first started, I realized that was bike riding, and so uh I would get on the bicycle and try and learn it, and yeah, I would stumble on my ass all the time in trying to learn it, but I was determined to uh figure it out and learn how to bike, because it's fun. And it's very refreshing, like bike riding. Like I don't know how else to put it into words. Like being in the fast and hearing and feeling the air going against your face, and then everything else feeling like a blur to you. So it's very refreshing to just basically get out and do something. So that's where it's like I feel like there's a lost connection in anime and the anime community, and where it's like saddening to see for me, because it's like there's so much like a beauty to nature, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't love anime, but I am saying that we should uh not just only like anime, you know? Like there's so many things that are refreshing in this world. And I feel like anime is a great source of fun and uh to basically get away from life's problems and its difficulties. But it's also in that in life there isn't just only difficulties, you know? There is a beauty to it. And so that's where it's like I want to stick to that beauty and push myself ever further so that I can get into that beauty. You know, like I for one would love to get into uh, lifting weights and going into the gym, but I mean I don't have any money, so I can't do that. But one form of how I can get money is, you know, getting commissions from people. Uh, Finding a job where I am, it's not exactly easy because there's such a high demand for it and all that. So, in my many attempts at trying it, it just didn't work. So, I'm now having to get a little creative in making money. And uh, one thing is that it's helpful is to have a following and uh, getting into social media. And when it comes to social media, I've my main focus for these past few years has just been improving and working on myself and my craft, and not so much like improving on or making a following, because it's like there's a lot of illustrations and artists out there that's like wow, you know, it's crazy. You know, the competition for it is insanely high, and then that's not even talking about AI and like it's oversaturation. You know, so it's like you really gotta like step up the playing field and be the best of the best, and really to make be seen and uh, be heard. You know, so that's where I want to be uh, the best of myself, so that other people will see that too, and then want to stick around. And so, yeah, um, it's it's all about like um, taking steps forward and having things stack on upon each other. Because at the end, it's like one thing leads to another, and then that another leads to another. So, like for example, gesture. You know, like gesture is the first step in anything if you really think about it, but it's not something that is very much talked about because it's such a technical thing, and it's looks ugly when you first start at it. Like I for one, like gesture, it's like such a deconstructing kind of method, but it's an important method because it's the roadmap for what comes later, you know? So it's like in that one sense, like it's all like everyone's gotta start from somewhere, you know? So uh that's basically how it works. Like for me in particular, it's been a lot of myself has been about like self improvement and self development. I mean, like I want you to ask yourself, like, what kind of person were you 5 years ago? You know, and like you're thinking, like how different was it versus now? And I can tell you for sure, for me, it's like it was very different with my kind of thinking. 5 years ago, it was much more broader and childlike, suffice to say. Like when I first started drawing, what I had in mind and what I wanted to do was make a DDLC manga, you know, and that was in my period in my drawing where all I did was draw the DDLC girls. And you know, they supplied that factor in drawing, like giving me my characters to draw, so to speak, because I didn't have an OC or uh, I didn't find any consistency in uh, what to draw. And when it came to the girls, they were that consistency. But then as time went on and I was getting better, I wanted to branch off from the girls and basically draw what I wanted to draw and be more original and creative. And so that's where we are now. I mean, it's been very, uh, it's been very creative and quite the journey to adventure off into doing new things and uh, step into a whole new world. Like there's this whole thing called Twitch and all that, and I'm like, wow, there's like all kinds of platforms to uh work on. Like one thing for me is that when I uh came to the topic of YouTube and Twitch, I asked myself, would I is it better for me to stream on YouTube or Twitch? And Twitch, that's more on the gaming niche and all that. And when it comes to YouTube, it's live streaming is more broad and more open to streaming. So for me, what I want to live stream most of the time is drawing, you know? And so Twitch, it's not exactly towards the drawing and more on the gaming, you know? So that's when I answered my own question. Like, we'll be doing live streams on YouTube. And that it just makes more sense too because, like, um, my main focus more than anything will be YouTube as far as posting and all that, because there's like such a an audience with YouTube and its viewership and all that. Like it's the one platform that if it can explode with, then I can just basically work on from there. And so the good thing I love about YouTube is that it kind of forces me to be consistent with it. And when it comes to live streaming, I mean, yeah, nobody is looking at it now for sure. But I mean, I'm only just starting, you know, and so everyone's gonna start somewhere. And I can already see it, like the hundreds of people watching me and having fun with interacting with them and just having fun with you guys and sharing along my journey with improving and just having fun and good laughs. And so, like, another thing I love about YouTube is its shorts. Like, uh, it makes for a good opportunity to do Pinterest sketches and post it on there. Because when it comes to my picture sketches, I primarily post them on TikTok. TikTok gave me an inspiration to even start documenting the Pinterest sketches. So it's been very nice. Another interesting thing has been editing and diving into all that craziness. Um, because there's such a a versatility when it comes to editing. Like there's so much to know and to learn, and now I'm stepping into that playing field, and it's pretty fun. Making funny edits. That's the main thing. Because it keeps me in tune with learning editing. Because the more I can learn about how to edit, the more fun I can have with what I can do. And so it's like all about perspective. Because it's like I can view it as like, oh man, now I gotta learn all these editing styles and how to like zoom in and movement and all that. But then, back to a new perspective, it's like, okay, so the more I can learn, the more I can have fun with it and experiment, and try new things. And those new things can start off into other things and into better things. And so that's where it becomes a healthy look at it, because I don't want to look at things like a drag, because like in drawing, for instance, there's so many things that can be seen as a drag, like clothing. Like there is so much movement and difference when it comes to clothing. Like, because yes, it lays on the body, and then it uh, takes on a new form when it comes to shading. And there's all types of clothing. Like denim, the loose clothing, the tight clothing, and just the uh, I forgot what it's called, but yeah, there's just so much variety when it comes to clothing, and there's in each of those varieties there's different methods to drawing them and shading them. And so, like, also in just anatomy, like we were just talking about it, and you're looking at it now, boobs. There's such a variety to them, and uh, I, for one, it gets uncomfortable when it comes to drawing naked women, obviously. Now, I know some of you may get a kick off it, like a good rush on it, but, for me, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't. It gets uncomfortable at times, but it's like one of those inevitable, uh, necessary evils, in a sense, because it's like, how do you get better at driving a car? You drive it. How do you get better at drawing boobs? You draw them. So it's one of those things where it's, you gotta uh, just get used to it. So, yes, there's a lot of things that I'm having to get used to. And YouTube and making videos is being one of them. Uh, I definitely did not see this for myself 5 years ago. Like, my simple mind, it just wanted to draw what I wanted to draw, get big, and then work from there. But uh, me seeing it now, it's a little bit more than that. And so it's been quite the journey. Quite the journey. But it's been a beautiful journey. Um, these 5 years have been very learning and quite growing. Um, and I'm just really happy with that it's stacking on upon itself, because being like I'm still nowhere near where I want to be with my craft, but I'm at that point where now I can divvy up into other things, and making videos and uh, dabble in editing, and I'll still focus on drawing and improving. And if anything, uh, learning to do these videos and having ideas for videos, it gives me a drive to draw new things and draw those certain topics. So it's been very nice. Very nice. You know what's also funny is that there's a lot of opportunities to find a positivity in learning and mistakes primarily. Like whenever I'm drawing breasts, for example, it's like, oh, why does it look like so stiff? And it looks like, for example, like uh, drawing it in side view, for instance. That's where it's like, oh my goodness, it looks so rigid and uh, fixed. And where it's like, okay, so how do I turn this around? How do I look at this in a way that where I can learn and not so much where a way where I'm like, ugh. It's like, again, a important thing that I want to not be so fixed on is seeing it as a drag, because there are a lot of things to look at things with a drag kind of feel with it, and that's where I'm just like, okay, so how do I work around this and improve on this? Because like for me, when it comes to drawing, I want to be perfect at it. I want to not have anything have error. And like for example, like in my latest drawing of Freerin, like I completely messed up on her face, and where it's like, dang it, like sometimes I uh mess up on my faces, and that calls in for more studying on faces. So it's like there's like an endless uh ways to improve on with drawing, like the hands, the legs, the torso, like it's all so like it can get all very overwhelming, but one thing that has helped for me is that tackling it at one bit at a time, and focusing on that bit. And then when it's, you know, uh, good enough per se, then okay, then let's focus in on another little thing, and then uh, wash, rinse, and repeat. So it's been very nice. Been very nice to go about things that is not uh, too much, and that isn't uh, too little in a sense, because uh, it's very like I don't want to get comfortable with where I'm at with my drawing, because then it's like if I get comfortable, then I'm not gonna want to improve, and that's a no that I want to avoid, because I'm happy with where I'm at, but I'm also know that I can be better. So that's just it. I want to be better and learn about uh, style and how I can improve at my painting in primarily because I don't want it to look too muddy, but it's like I'm still getting used to my style and the style that I want because it's not the traditional style that I've seen in a lot of illustrations, so like what I want for me in a style is to be unique and to when you see that style, you think of the uniqueness of it, and so that's the kind of style that I want. I don't. I want to be in a style that is unique and indifferent, that can be challenging and fun, and really be captivating. Like my favorite artist has the perfect ideal style that I have in mind. It's like crazy to see that like in visual, because it's like now I have something that I can work towards and study with, and so it's like it's very I'm very grateful that I have someone that I can look up to in a sense with my drawing, because it's like I now have a visual goal that I can work towards and something that I can improve on to get to. It's not just something, a thought, now it's a visual uh, goal. And so I'm having to study and work and work and basically get towards that. And it's very uh, fulfilling to see when others see that too. So, like, uh, on my one of my last few videos I got comments and that's where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is really happening, it's like I got that copium the copium, it's like very nice to see that, like much appreciated to have people notice it and like cheer me on because it's like it would be very lovely to have my own community, a community where we cheer each other on and, be our, uh, how to say it, like to lean on each other and our own challenges and, improve on ourselves and basically have new friendships that stem from the love and community that we have. Like, that's what I would want to build a foundation of love and growth, because like there is an endless uh opportunity for growth in life. It's like 10 years ago, as I'm sure you and me are not the same people, and that's the beauty of it. Like, we're always growing and learning, and it's a very tender feeling, and that's what I love to see in communities in general. Like, I still watch Dashy games, and maybe not as often for sure as when I was in my teens, but he's still there. He's still on my mind, and he's still the funny guy and creative guy that is I came to know and love. He's such a comedy, and yeah, it's like his community, his fans are so like funny, like the threeps that he does in they would do in his Super Mario Makers. They were very fun and creative, and in his own comments, you can see it. The people, they love him. They love what he does and that what he represents in their life. And so that's what I hope to be like a representation in other people's lives is like a form of joy, like a form of learning and challenge, in that uh, we don't have to stay in where we are as far as our challenges, and we can rise above them. I mean, there's just so much difficulties that we face with our growth and our crafts, but I'd like to think that there's more to it than that. Like, there's an ever growing uh, view with it, and it's just overall a beautiful thing to see. Like, to have a community to where we are cheering each other on in our own race. That's pretty much it, man. Like, everyone has their own life to live, their own challenges to face. But with a community, we don't have to feel alone. We don't have to feel like we're at it on our own. We can lean on each other and face the challenges together. And that's what I love about communities. Like, uh, being at it together and facing what comes uh, next together, as well as a bit of an escape, really, because like I know for me, for drawing, one of the things that I love about it is that it can be a form of escape for me. You know, it's not the main thing that I love about drawing, but it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, so I had a pretty bad day today. Let me get in some of the sketchbook, and then uh, I feel all the more better. So drawing is a fun craft. It's a creative craft, and it's an investive craft. That inspires self confidence and self development. Because it's like, no, I'm not someone that has been drawing all their life. No, I am not someone that is talented in drawing. I did not get to where I am just by instantaneous. It took a lot. It takes a lot of effort and focus and um, time. And so with all those being said, it then inspires my character and uh, forges my character in that I know that I've worked, that I've focused, that I've grown, and I can find a peace in that. because I haven't sat on my butt doing nothing, you know? And so that is my message to you, and that if you may be having a tough time with drawing and seeing other people being better at drawing than you, then just to keep at it. Like I speak to myself on that one as well. Of course, like uh, there's one of my favorite artists in particular, uh, Jesu Art. Like he only has 1 year advantage over me, and yet our difference in skill is so dramatic, you know. And so when I watched his learning videos, or his when he made a drawing class with it, that's when he was talked about his story, you know, and where I found myself being pretty related to him, you know, because he has a color blindness to him, and so that made it to where he can't do what he loves, you know, because he can't see the colors that he's very limited in color seeing, you know. So that's where it's like, oh man, that sucks, man. Like to not be able to do what you love because of what you have or what you struggle with, like that's hard. Uh, but then, you know, he got glasses that helped him with his color blindness, and then he was able to uh, pursue what he loves. And here he is now. He's amazing at what he does. And so uh, that's where it becomes inspirational, you know, because there's only a 1 year advantage that he has, and yet he's so great. So that's where it's, to me, it's like, okay, so that means I'm not too far from achieving his level, you know? So working hard and studying and working towards that, and I know that I can reach his level and that it's not impossible. Like, it's very much possible to reach the level of your inspirations, you know? And so that's what I love about uh, having someone that I can work towards. You know, it's like a a goal visually. And so yeah, I um I hope you've enjoyed this little talk session that we've been having. As well as seeing these bubby drawings. And hopefully that you've been having fun with listening in as I have talking. It's been a very uh fun. Always love getting into these talks and getting better at it. You know, I love to feel that, and I definitely do. So yeah, um, I'll be seeing you in the next one, and in these coming videos. And yeah, I look forward to it, and I hope you do too. So yeah, with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.